You both have a perfect driving record.
Perfect.
Tickets, no accidents.
That is until one of you clips a food truck, ruining your perfect record.
Yeah.
Now, you would think your insurance company would cut you some slack, right?
No, your insurance rates go through the roof. Your perfect record doesn't get you anything.
Anything.
Perfect.
For drivers with accident forgiveness, Liberty Mutual won't raise your rates due to your first accident. And if you do have an accident, our claim centers are available to assist you 24/7. For a free quote, call Liberty Mutual at 1-844-218-8203. Switch to Liberty Mutual and you could save up to $509. Call today at 1-844-218-8203. Liberty stands with you. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
If you get long-term payments but you need cash now, call J.G. Wentworth, 877-CASH NOW.
Get $500 cash now for going online or calling for a free quote.
877-CASH NOW.
It's your money. Use it when you need it.
Call J.G. Wentworth now. Use the $500 any way you like. Offer is subject to meeting certain underwriting and transaction requirements. Call the number provided or visit cashnow500.com for further details.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-300-8313 or go to Mesobook.com.
A few days later, the Colonel and I were talking over routine press releases on a new type transport plane, when suddenly the Colonel veered off at a tangent.
By the way, there's a magazine fellow coming out here from New York to do a story. I want you to set up appointments with the people he'll want to see.
Right. What magazine is he representing?
Life.
What are they after?
He's going to write a piece about unidentified flying objects.
Are you serious?
Life was given clearance by the Air Force Commanding General.
How come?
When the General Staff makes a plan, they have the whole picture in view. We here at Dayton see only a smaller section. Pentagon has its reasons. Very good ones, most likely.
When the Life story breaks, we're going to have to fight our way in here through a milling mob of inquisitive reporters.
No, Al, you won't. You won't be here. Colonel Searles in the Pentagon has requested you by name. He wants you to join his staff in Washington.
Colonel, it's been swell working with you. But under the circumstances, I'll be delighted to get out of here. Upon my arrival in Washington, I was assigned to Air Force Press Desk, room 2E765 in the Pentagon. My last official act at AMC had been to arrange the conferences and briefings for Life magazine. I was in Washington only a short time when Look magazine submitted the galley proofs of their saucer article to my desk. I put the Look article through to security review. Now I felt free to settle down in my new job. I checked in with the press section of the United States Senate, House of Representatives, and Department of State. I paid the required visits to the information departments of the Army, Navy, and Marine Corps. I covered the Civil Aeronautics Administration and other agencies with whom I would be working in close contact. By now, I figured I was through with flying saucers for good. But the Pentagon had other ideas. Because of my previous experience, I was assigned to unidentified flying objects. I was back in the flying saucer business. In the activity of setting up housekeeping and getting adjusted to the new job, I completely forgot about the Life magazine article. Also, I was able to spend more time with Chip. My son had been deaf in one ear since infancy, and it was difficult for him to play with other children. I had settled down to a regulated home life, but it was only a lull before the storm. On April 7th, 1952, Life hit the newsstands with the saucer story. anyone ever had any doubt about it was forcefully answered. The public, America as a whole, had an intense, avid interest in the subject of flying saucers. The first few days following the life story were chaotic. Naturally, my desk was an exposed point, and I was under an incessant barrage by newsmen. Shortly after the life story, Look's coverage of saucers hit the newsstands. Their story featured a saucer map, including a statement by the commanding general, U.S. Air Force, Hoyt Vandenberg. Vandenberg stated,
"The Air Force is interested in anything that takes place in the air. This includes the aerial phenomenon commonly known as flying saucers. Many of these incidents have been satisfactorily explained. Others have not."
Project Grudge was expanded and augmented. The classified name Grudge was dropped. The new code name for the U.F.O. investigative project was Blue Book. The general appointed Captain Edward J. Ruppelt of ATIC at Wright-Patterson as officer in charge of Project Blue Book. Ruppelt's department was designated as Air Phenomenon Branch, Air Technical Intelligence. At Ruppelt's disposal was a large staff of distinguished scientists, both military and civilian. One day, Major Dewey Fournay of Current Intelligence Branch sent for me.
"Will you come in here a minute, Al?"
Major Fournay was intelligence technical analyst and UFO monitor.
"Thanks, Captain." "Al, I just got a call from Captain Ruppelt. A Navy photographer named Newhouse has made a sighting near Tremont, Utah. He got some UFOs on film."
Motion pictures?
Motion pictures. This film should prove interesting on a comparative basis.
Comparative with what?
With the Montana film. ATIC's had it for some time over at Dayton.
You mean ATIC has had motion pictures? Why wasn't I told about it?
You're being told about it now.
Can I see these films?
Ruppelt has the Newhouse film. It's back at Dayton being processed and analyzed. But I can show you the Montana film. This film was shot August the 15th, 1950. It was taken in Great Falls, Montana by Nick Mariana. Immediately after we were notified of the sighting, we sent an intelligence man to get a first-hand report.
My name is Nick Mariana. For the past 6 years, I've been the general manager of a minor league baseball club called the Electrics. We play out of Great Falls, Montana, and are a farm club of the Brooklyn Dodgers. On August 15th, 1950, at Legion Ballpark in Great Falls, Montana, after a couple of hours in the clubhouse office, I went up into the grandstand to call the groundskeeper. As I reached the top of the stairway, I glanced northward to the tall Anaconda Copper Company smokestack to check the direction of the wind from the white smoke. Force of habit, I suppose, because our outfielders use it as an indicator on defensive play. As I looked up, I saw two silvery objects moving swiftly out of the northwest. They appeared to be moving directly south. The objects were very bright and about 10,000 feet in the air. They appeared to be of a bright, shiny metal, like polished silver. Both were the same size and were traveling at the same rate of speed, which was much slower than the jets which shot by shortly after I filmed the discs. Suddenly, they stopped. It was then I remembered the camera in the glove compartment of my car. I raced downstairs, yelling for my secretary, Miss Virginia Ronick. The distance from the top of the stairway to my car is about 60 feet, and I must have made that in about 6 jumps. I asked my secretary if she saw anything, and she said yes, 2 silvery spheres. I unlocked the glove compartment of my car, took out the camera, turned the telephoto lens on the turret into position, set the camera at f/22, picked up the objects in the viewfinder, and pressed the trigger. The discs appeared to be spinning like a top and were about 50 feet across and about 50 yards apart. I could not see any exhaust, wings, or any kind of fuselage. There was no cabin, no odor, no sound, except I thought I heard a whooshing sound when I first saw them. As the film clicked through the camera, I could see the objects moving southeast behind the General Mills grain building and the black water tank directly south of the ballpark. I filmed the objects until they disappeared into the blue sky behind the water tank.
There's only a few feet of film. It'll be over practically before your eyes are focused on it. Now remember, there's only a few feet of film, so watch closely.
I still had my doubts, but I must admit I felt an excitement about seeing actual motion pictures of unidentified flying objects for the first time.
Ready?
Ready.
What do you make of it? You saw what I saw. What's your opinion? I'll run it again.
Do you have a transcript on Mariana?
It's a Dayton.
Good. Colonel Searles wants me to go to Dayton. That is, if you'll give me clearance.
I'll have you cleared. It's a good idea for you to get acquainted with the history of UFOs. When you get to Dayton, you'll meet Captain Ruppelt. The three of us are going to be working closely from here on. Ruppelt will give you a complete briefing on Blue Book.
What's the story on him?
Ruppelt's an aeronautical engineer. He knows about things that fly. An excellent man to head up Project Blue Book.
Okay. Once again, what's your opinion of this film?
As far as I'm concerned, I'll have to classify them as unknowns. I'll run the film again, this time in slow motion.
This time I strained my eyes to study the film.
Well?
There was something up there in that sky. And if they were not balloons, I don't know what to think.
You better get going to Dayton.
I'm an appetizer. I'm giving out spores. Sucker. Wait a minute, that's me.
A slave of Rome.
5 years.
What is your name?
Ben-Hur. My family was betrayed by my own brother. I won't let him go unpunished.
You have no idea what you've done! Defeat him in the arena, and you'll have your vengeance. Give them a shame they will understand. Ah! Are we having fun now, brother?
Ben-Hur, rated PG-13. Friday on Comet. If you're the proud owner of a Cherry 2000 robot, you might think the kitchen floor is a great place to make out. But it isn't. Because now your robot is fried and you're gonna need a new one.
Where are we going?
To the robot graveyard. What'd you think?
But first you have to get through this desert wasteland.
Friends of yours?
And you have to survive Lester.
Who's Lester?
Total wacko.
Why don't you just learn to kiss someplace less dangerous? Cherry 2000, Friday at 8, 7 Central on Comet. Comet has a Godzilla movie marathon featuring The Origin, the original, the American remake of the original, the sequel to the original, and of course, his son. This piece of work gets the world worked up. Monsters. The Godzilla Movie Marathon, Labor Day on Comet. Comet wants to send you to the last Stargate convention ever. Let's go. Go to CometTV.com/sweepstakes and enter to win. You and a guest could be on your way to Chicago for a once-in-a-lifetime Stargate experience, including cast autographs, reserved gold seating, and VIP backstage passes. Enter now at CometTV.com/sweepstakes.
I want to take a chance.
And to get tickets for the final Journey Stargate convention, go to CreationENT.com.
Non-attorney spokesperson. Attention! If you or a loved one had a total or reverse shoulder replacement between 2011 and 2016,
call 1-800-881-6777.
You may be entitled to compensation. Evidence indicates that these devices can dislocate and loosen, causing severe pain, and may require revision surgery. If you or a loved one had a total or reverse shoulder replacement and suffered a dislocation or loosening requiring a revision,
call 1-800-881-6777.
Your financial life. It has so many pieces, it's hard to see where you stand. But now there's an easier way. Introducing Personal Capital, the free website that shows you all your accounts in one place, making it easy to manage your finances, track your investments, and grow your net worth. Just go to personalcapital.com and link your accounts. You'll see income and spending, how your investments are doing, even your net worth, all in real time. You'll also get these free tools. Join for free at personalcapital.com.
Attention veterans, if you were injured during your service in the U.S. military, pay close attention to this ad. You may be losing thousands in veterans benefits every month.
I'm attorney George Sink, and just like some of you, I'm a disabled veteran. I know what you're going through. The VA is a mess. If you need help with your veterans claim, call 1-800-849-SINK. If you have a service-connected mental disability, can't work because of that disability, and the VA has not granted you a 100% rating, or if you have a single service-connected physical disability rated at 60% or more and can't work because of that disability, call George Sink Injury Lawyers now at 1-800-849-SINK. I served our country as a Marine, and now my firm serves you. We don't get paid until you get your benefits. So what do you have to lose?
If you need help applying for veterans benefits, call George Sink Injury Lawyers at 1-800-849-SINK.
If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, and you're struggling to pay your bills while your case is dragging on, that's where Oasis Financial comes in. Only Oasis has Oasis Express Cash that can get you from $500 to $25,000 in as little as 24 hours, faster than anyone else. There's no risk and no out-of-pocket cost.
It was so simple. I made one phone call. Oasis was able to give me the money within 24 hours.
To pay for my electric bill, my rent, and my groceries for my children.
And even if you end up losing your case, Oasis lets you keep the money. So there's absolutely no risk to you. You don't have to worry about repaying Oasis.
If I had lost my case, then I wouldn't be responsible for paying the money back. And that was a blessing.
Oasis, they killed me and they helped me out. They gave me my life back.
See how much money you can get before your case settles. Call Oasis Financial, because life moves faster than your case. 1-800-620-9428. 1-800-620-9428.
Attention Medicare beneficiaries. Many people with Medicare may be able to get extra benefits and don't even know they're available. You may be able to get dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drug coverage included in your plan. The Medicare Coverage Helpline is accepting calls to see if you're eligible to enroll now. You may be able to get extra benefits including dental, vision, and prescription drug coverage.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jason Buchwald. Making sure you go to the doctor and taking all your medications as prescribed can help protect your health. To make it easier, you may now be able to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan that includes coverage for dental, vision, and prescription drugs. Help protect your health by choosing the right plan for you and get all the benefits you deserve.
Call to see if you may be able to get extra benefits, including dental, vision, and prescription coverage. Don't delay. Call to see if you're eligible to enroll and may be able to get extra benefits now. 800-215-0783. That's 800-215-0783.
Yes, sir. May I help you?
I'll chop to see Captain Ruppelt.
Captain's right over there, sir.
Thanks. Captain Ruppelt, I'm Al Chop.
Have a seat, sir. Major Fernand lured me you're arriving. You've got the green light here. Where would you like to start?
As a springboard, I suggested that he brief me on the general outline of how the organization handled reports on UFOs. Ruppelt began to fill me in on the baffling saucer problem, including a breakdown on the reported sightings supplemented by graphs. There were literally hundreds of cases where Air Defense Command pilots had attempted to intercept UFOs. There were sightings where UFOs had been tracked by ground radar, airborne radar, ground observation, and combinations of all these elements. I accompanied intelligence officers on investigations. I witnessed the difficulty in breaking down and gaining the confidence of those who were reluctant to talk about their experiences for fear of personal ridicule and embarrassment. Others were cooperative. I observed the technique of thorough interrogation used by Blue Book's analysis and investigative staff. In almost every case, I heard the same words used to describe the sighting. These words were lights and metallic objects. There were reports by reliable, competent observers, including high-ranking Air Force and Navy flyers, civil engineers, and scientists. I learned that the staggering total of over 3,500 reports had been received. Quite a few of these sightings are unsolved.
Approximately 85% of the sightings are designated as solved.
According to this document, 14.3% of all sightings are officially designated as unknown. The newsmen keep hitting me with the unsolved cases. Anyway, solved is a big word. How do you solve them?
There's nothing hit or miss about it. I'll show you. On December 1st, 1952, between 4:30 and 5 o'clock in the morning, several major airports in this area reported a single round object. It was flashing, first white, then white-orange, then amber. It was observed northwest of this central point at an angle of 15 degrees above the horizon. Remember that 15 degrees. It's important. Reports arrived here from Teterboro Airport, Westchester Airport, Newark Airport, LaGuardia Airfield, Idlewild, and Mitchell Field. This flashing sphere of light was also observed by an Eastern Airline pilot who radioed in his report. Various observers at all these airports watched the object through high-power binoculars. When the report arrived here, we checked the weather in that area with Air Force Weather Bureau. That night, at that time, there was no temperature inversion. We got in touch with Navy Balloon Project Center at the University of Minnesota. That gave us an exact schedule of balloons released from that center. We got similar information from every other point where weather balloons are released through Air Force Balloon Plotting Center at Lowry Field, Denver. We contacted Air Force Weather for wind conditions and velocity at the altitude of known balloons. A precise computation of balloons in the air and known wind conditions definitely removed balloons from the picture. We checked with flight service to determine if any aircraft were in the vicinity on the bearing at that time. There were no aircraft.
And still this thing was up there all the time, being observed by various personnel from airfields all over that area?
Correct, and they were seeing it. We checked with our contract astronomer at a leading university in the locality and gave the astronomer the angle of elevation and bearing of the object. Remember, the object was observed at an angle of 15 degrees above the horizon, and I told you that was important. It proved to be the conclusive factor. Our astronomer reported that at the time of the observation, the planet Jupiter was 15 degrees above the horizon, and on the angle of elevation and bearing of the object, there's no doubt about it. What all these people saw was Jupiter.
What made the light flash?
Atmospheric conditions, the same conditions that make the stars appear to twinkle.
You people really go into these things.
We try. In over 80% of the cases, we come up with the correct answers. We don't get the correct answers in all the cases.
What about the motion picture made by this Navy man, Newhouse?
We're working on that.
How does it look?
Impressive.
Can I see it?
It's being analyzed.
When the film is available, will I be able to take a look at it?
As soon as analysis is completed, you'll see it. Satisfied?
Yeah. How long will that take?
About a week. We're doing an exhaustive check on the Newhouse stuff. Really putting it through the ringer. When we're through, we'll forward a print to the Director of Intelligence with a complete report of our analysis.
Fill me in on Newhouse. Would you consider him a qualified observer?
He rates as a top flight observer, an extremely competent one. Immediately upon getting word of his sighting, we dispatched an investigator from Travis Air Force Base to interrogate Newhouse.
The exact date of his sighting was July 2nd at 11 a.m., Mountain Standard Time.
I was driving on U.S. Highway 30 South with my wife and our son Delbert and our daughter Ann. We were on our way from Washington, D.C. to Portland, Oregon on vacation before reporting to my new duty station at the Aviation Supply Depot, Naval Supply Center, Oakland, California. About 7 miles after we passed through Trail Mountain, Utah, my wife noticed a group of objects in the sky which she could not identify. I pulled over to the side of the road, stopped, got out, looked up and saw the objects. There were about 12 of them in a rough formation proceeding in a westerly direction. They were like nothing I'd ever seen before, although I've logged some 2,000 hours in the air. They were identical in appearance.
How would you describe these objects?
Like two saucers, one inverted over the other. I had no means of judging the altitude. It appeared to me to be about the size of B-29s at 10,000 feet.
Did you photograph them immediately?
I watched the objects for a few moments before getting my camera out of the suitcase. Then I lost more time getting film out of the second suitcase and loading the camera. When I first saw the objects, they were almost overhead. By the time I had the camera ready to go, they had moved to a considerably greater distance.
What kind of a camera did you use?
A 16mm Bell & Howell film auto load master with the 3-lens turret. I selected a 3-inch lens and set it on f8 and focused at infinity.
Did you think of using slow motion?
No, the camera was set on 16 frames per second, and in the excitement of the moment, I didn't think to shoot at a greater rate, although that would have improved the coverage. I centered the viewfinder on the objects and made the first shot. Then I decided that if the sky were darker, the objects would show better. So I stopped the lens down to f16 and continued photographing. This proved to be a mistake, as the quality of the film would have been better had I left it at f8.
Did these objects remain together in a group at all times?
No. Toward the end, one object reversed its course and proceeded away from the rest of the group. I held the camera still and allowed this single object to pass through the field of view, picking it up again later in its course.
Did this single object return to the rest of the group?
No. I allowed it to pass through the field of view of the camera 2 or 3 times, and then it disappeared.
In what direction?
Over the eastern horizon.
What did you do then?
I turned, swinging the camera just in time to see the rest of the group disappear over the western horizon.
What was the weather?
The weather was bright and cloudless.
Visibility good?
The visibility was excellent.
How does this film you shot compare with what you saw with your naked eye? You have studied the film.
Yes, I've studied it. I'm very disappointed. The film falls far short of showing what I saw with the naked eye, due to the delay in getting the camera started and my air and exposure. If I'd had this camera in the seat beside me, loaded and ready to go, there'd be no need for questions. The Air Force would have the answer.
What is your full name, please?
Delbert Clement Newhouse.
And you are on active duty with the Navy?
Yes, sir, I am.
What is your official Navy rank?
My title is Chief Photographer. I'm a commissioned warrant officer, United States Navy.
How long have you been in the service?
21 years.
Now, is there anything you can add to the description of these objects?
They had a bright silvery color.
Can you describe some particular detail?
They had a metallic appearance. They seemed to be made of some kind of polished metal.
The Newhouse film, as I told you, is presently under analysis. Sergeant, would you get me the Fargo case? The Fargo sighting was October 1st, 1948. A National Guard lieutenant, thank you, a National Guard lieutenant was about to land his F-51 at Fargo Airport.
Captain Ruppelt gave me the details from the record. The pilot, after a routine patrol flight, was cleared by the tower to land when he asked,
"Anything in the way?"
There's a Piper Cub below you. Nothing else in the air.
I see the Piper Cub. I see another light about 1,000 yards ahead of me. It looks like the tail light of a plane.
I can see you, but I can't see the light you're observing.
The pilot told the tower he